1. Greetings, everyone. This is Group H1's social branding project for the DFW Metro NAACP's Legal Redress team. Now, it's quite a handful, but let's move on to the project's background. Now, founded in December of 2020, the Legal Redress team is a nonprofit entity that is tasked with offering extra legal advice that is advice that isn't based on any legal elements to individuals who may be facing certain racial or social problems within the DFW community area. Now, its funding is based solely on individual contributions that in total range up to $50,000, which is where we come into the next step of our presentation, the project's focus, which is to improve its social media presence so that it can see two main effects. One, increase user engagement across all of its social media accounts. And two, the improvement of its funding status, which we hope will become the result of increased user counts actually donating directly to the organization. Now, let's focus on some of the problems that may arise as we undergo this project, which will focus on interviewing multiple persons across the DFW area, as well as doing a lot of research of our own.
Thank you, Ali. Despite the apparent simplicity surrounding our project, the Legal Redress team was founded in a hectic period. According to Dallas Morning News Journal, dated September 28 of this year, the DFW area has seen hundreds of thousands of COVID cases with over 10,000 lives lost since the pandemic start. Coupled with a relatively lacking digital presence, the effort to build up awareness faces a population that is, number one, economically wary and may prove less likely to contribute financially. Number two, perhaps less willing to physically commit to certain engagement opportunities and fundraising events. And number three, is rather unaware of the Redress team's social media accounts, which leads us on to the next point. The Legal Redress team does not have a strong online presence. Currently, the Legal Redress team does have a website and social media accounts. However, there's not much user engagement. For example, the DFW Metro NAACP Twitter account only has 9 followers. The DFW Metro NAACP should substantially have a larger following. That is one of the main hurdles that the Legal Redress team is facing. Moving on to the next slide. Currently, the DFW Metro NAACP has Twitter, Meta, and Instagram accounts and are continuously posting to attract people to their cause. They covered the main platforms, however, they are growing slowly. The second solution is to emphasize on engagement opportunities over issue highlighting. The Legal Redress team should consider developing direct relationships with the community. Another engagement opportunity is to create a channel for feedback and to educate the local community on topics directly related to social justice. My last point is to establish an effective balance between individual contributions and fundraising events. Funding is a financial or critical component to any organization, whether it be nonprofit or a profit organization. It is what provides the organization with potential to grow. That said, DFW Metro NAACP can incorporate a periodical donation program and physical program events that members of the community can engage with. Moving along to Kofi.
Thank you, Saeed. Age is an important factor in how an audience may perceive social media and social justice outreach attempts. Take, for example, demographics of social media use in the United States. According to a Pew Research article dated on April 7th of this year, 71% of Americans ages 18 to 29 use Instagram, while anywhere from 73 to 77% of those Americans aged 30 to 64 use Facebook. Messaging through social media outlets must therefore employ different techniques to present specific and set ideas, be it a local fundraiser or highlighting an issue that the Legal Redress team is solving the legal redress team must employ more hip outlets that employ imagery and live user feedback to appeal to younger audience members, while more mature, detailed, and video supporting outlets, such as Facebook, can be used to appeal to older members. Now, as mentioned earlier, the legal redress team must employ its social media channels to present specific and set ideas. What might that mean exactly? It means that as an entity focused on offering community solutions to racial and social problems that may arise in DFW's local communities, the team must emphasize content that brings of the community together to achieve fundraising or engagement goals. Content should avoid emphasizing the problems themselves, but rather the solutions that the team develops and the opportunities people have to contribute towards the team's operational abilities. By generating sympathy among local communities through social media, the Redress team develops both a reputation for positive outreach and a base of support throughout the DFW area. With that being said, Rosa will tell you more about the audience appeal.
An important element of outreach attempts, as mentioned earlier, should see the legal redress team conveying uniform messaging throughout its social media accounts. Such outreach should focus on building broad support within the DFW area, rather than intentionally appealing more to any one demographic. The legal redress team's messaging, which is established earlier, must be positive. Can those avoid possibly communicating shortcomings that will be explained later? By using general language that emphasizes local solutions and engagement opportunities. The Redress team's social media accounts can establish popularity with viewers who are already more passionate about social justice initiatives and contributing to them, while also making inroads with people who may not feel as strongly about the subject, but would nonetheless be intrigued by the possibility of improving the DFW area's social and racial harmony. Now let's learn why engagement is important.
Thank you, Rosa. Engagement has constituted a massive part of this presentation, and for good reason, by making its social media viewers feel like extended members of their organization. The legal redress teams has the best chance of counting on their time and monetary contribution as the need arise. However, engagement is not as simple achieved by offering people a chance to attend, even, or spread the word about a highlighted issues. It's required an established organizational infrastructure that simplifies the process for holding local event meant to bring people together, and that enable continuous communication through a dedicated outreach position. One interview was very specific in assigning the concept of organization massive importance. The legal redress teams must provide would-be event or endeavor members with the detailed plans about what is to occur and how it will be achieved and why it is being done. Additionally, all interviewees believed that making users' voice feel heard on digital account was a fantastic way by which to attract their constant attentions, and recommending them to share their thoughts on the Redress team's prospective account was noted as a good mean of expanding their digital footprint. Next slide, please. Next slide. Can you go back to the slide? Now, the ultimate objective of any nonprofit organization, besides achieving its stated goals, is to survive financially. The legal redress team depends on an organic contribution made by individuals across the DFW area, but it is through the aforementioned strategy that can be secure more funding. Two solutions stood out to the team as we interviewed various persons. One was incentivizing contribution, and other was reinforcing the Redress team's financial transparency. Incentivizing contribution comes across an inauthentic, but it may prove especially useful on milestone or event basis. Members who donate regularly online may be provided with the digital gift cards or similar rewards, while physical fundraising can include raffles for prizes ranging from grocery vouchers to cash. All of this done is added a positive note to the contributor. Alterations, beside the good they do via their financial assistance, they can be shown a gratitude in a reasonable manner. Transparency is a more serious matter. On the other hand, legal redress teams lack an accessible Form 990. More importantly, regular channels that clarify how donations and events process are used. By establishing proper guidelines surrounding such communication, local community members will knowing that their money is truly going towards the legal redress team's goals of solving DFW issues through extra legal advice and engagement event. Next slide will be presented by Rosa.
Now, much of the presentation has focused on strategies that the legal redress team should employ for the benefits of their social media presence. What about the certain shortcomings that were mentioned earlier? It is very important for the redress team to avoid two communication misdeeds, guilting and fear-mongering. The former is important as it relates to fundraising efforts, because not unwilling individuals whom the team can contact should be ashamed if solicited for financial contributions. Interviewees were unanimous in their agreement that guilting was a damaging action that could impact both the reputation and the genuineness of the legal redress team. Secondly, fear-mongering should be avoided as it relates to spreading the word about certain situations arising in the community. The redress team should focus on solutions, not on the possible consequences that may arise from local issues. Interviewers agreed that the highlighting the latter caused desensitization among social media viewers and made the possibility of engagement seem fruitless rather than continuous. A final mistake to avoid is ignoring social media accounts for too long. This seems like a no-brainer, but in a world of constant digital stimulation, social media users want constant information when they subscribe to it. Thus, the legal redress team will be wise to provide constant updates or simple outreach messages on its account, rather than ignore any account for too long. Now we'll be ending the presentation with Ali.
Thank you so much, everybody. Now, this slide displays some of the sources we use for our claims. When it comes to the images we utilize, those can be found on Google Images, so a bit of a search there. Let us conclude this with our final slide. Now, this presentation focused on the multifaceted plan that the legal redress team could use to improve its social media presence. It rests, though, upon three main elements. You have engagement, which is necessary to make sure that users are constantly interested in what the legal redress team is doing. And this element is really what will prove useful for stimulating local physical events, or perhaps fueling local fundraising efforts, digital or otherwise. Positivity is important because by including general and rather broad messaging about the issues that the legal redress team is solving, it will be able to attract the highest number of potential audience members, whether they are, again, interested in social justice to begin with, or those who aren't too aware of it but would like to give it an additional try. Now, finally, we come to the element of dedication. It's not easy running a nonprofit, and it's far harder to actually implement the types of strategies you need to keep it afloat. Now, through dedication, though, the legal redress team can maintain the infrastructure needed for constant feedback from its social media members. Through dedication, it can implement the parameters for establishing fundraising events or establishing the parameters for being transparent about how funds are used for operations. Through dedication, it is, we hope, the main element by which the legal redress team can use this plan that we've developed for them, not only for their benefit, but for the benefit of the DFW area social environment at large. Thank you.